let's take a call.
Let's take a call. Calling from a 425 area code. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's JC. I'm calling from the middle AOC. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem.
Well, it's actually Jajne Pirozbe, but okay.
Thank you, JC. What did you want to talk about tonight, JC?
Oh, quiet.
It's all right. I think I might have a low-key rant at you guys
Go for
about some of the topics that have been discussed. About the trans debate. There's this weird talking point that can come up, like, what happened to all the tomboys?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is getting rid of the tomboys. You know why you don't think tomboys? It's because you work at home or work in academia. The tomboys are in the military. That's where they are. Nobody's transing the tomboys in the military.
Mm-hmm. So you think every tomboy is no longer 4, but they're all 18 and above, or what?
It's just, sure, there's kids, but if you think that they're going away, you're just not looking in the right place.
I've never said they're going away. I've never said anything about. Okay, I was going to say, because I'm not saying that anyone's going anywhere.
Yeah, it wasn't you. It wasn't actually anybody on the show.
Okay.
Although I am subtweeting someone in the TIR Sublation universe. If you will.
Oh, that's a whole different look, man. You can't. I'm not going to be guilty by association. No, not me.
Is this one of those conversations that speculate?
I'm friends. Yeah, I'm friends with Doug, but I've never agreed with everything he said.
Is this one of those conversations that speculates on one of the secondary or tertiary consequences of transgenderism on alternative sexual lifestyles? Remember, I think Greg Greenwald was stuck on the notion that an increase in transgenderism somehow has an adverse effect on lesbianism or something like that. I mean, I remember people talking like that. I was like, "What is that about?"
There's a discussion that's a very uncomfortable that we have to admit that people are not ready to have at this moment about an idea that maybe some people might force their kids into gender identity when it's not really necessary.
Well, a lot of this stuff is new. It's new medical procedures, new medical science. There's going to be difficulties. There's going to be things to work out. There's going to be mistakes, right? And I think that's a really important point to understand about when we talk about trans-affirming healthcare. I mean, I don't know what is the appropriate healthcare issue, but I can tell you this: when we're talking about grown-up people who are 18 years old and over and who have the right to go and like die for their country if they want to get plastic surgery as part of gender affirming care to engage in sex change operations, then like that is their prerogative and that is their right. And in a civilized society, people should treat them the way that they want to be treated. It's like, people don't go around anymore calling black people boy or the N-word in public because that's just not freaking polite. You might, in your heart of hearts, want to call every black person the N-word. Keep that to yourself. You might, in your heart of hearts, believe, think that, I think this whole transgender issue stuff is ridiculous. I don't think trans women are really women. Fine. Just why do you need to be rude to someone in public and try and humiliate them in public? Are there cringy aspects of the trans movement? There are some cringy aspects of it. There are some people who behave a bit ridiculously, but tell me a political movement where there isn't somebody who takes it ridiculously or acts ridiculously or behaves ridiculously. People want to act like everything is settled science around what all this stuff means. It's all work in progress.
Mhm.
We've only just got past the kind of social problems. I mean, think about it. Forget about trans issues. 20 years ago, they were still like debating whether gay people should have equal rights, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Within the system. And when we talk about trans issues, we're not dealing with this is not the same thing as homosexuality or bisexuality. This is like a different level of issue. This is something that often involves a quite an invasive medical intervention, which may be necessary for people's mental health and things like that. But it's going to take time for us to get these longitudinal studies coming out, because we see the medical advice around this change over time. Do you give people transitioning under the age of 18 puberty blockers? They were at one point, but then the medical advice has changed in some places on that. And I'm not qualified to speak about what is and what is appropriate healthcare. But what I can say is that in terms of treating people humanely, I think we should respect trans women, trans men, and how they want to be. And I don't think being a tomboy and being a trans person is necessarily the same thing. Maybe there was a point in history where you would be a tomboy because that's the only option you have, right?
Mhm.
But now you have an option of if you want to transition, uh, you can do that, right? And it's going to take time. And I'm telling you, I agree with some of these kind of more, let's say, turf orientated people who say, well, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits from detransitioners and stuff down the road. I have no doubt that will happen. Because again, when you have a for profit medical system,
Mm.
you may end up with misdiagnosis, right? You know, but just because somebody was misdiagnosed and went through a medical transition, and that was a wrong and a mistake, doesn't make the entire sort of that treatment program necessarily wrong. Like if you gave someone chemotherapy for a toothache, then
We
that
don't throw chemo out the window.
would throw chemo out the window.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know what is appropriate, and I don't know how we square all this with also the other kind of discourse where people should be comfortable in their own bodies and people should be told to love their own bodies. I don't know how we square all that stuff. But people really need to like ratchet down the kind of ratchet down the discourse, and of course not fall into the trap of hating on people. I guess I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Makes sense.
Well
Caller, you
said.
still there?